Welcome inside Fox Weather ROWI Report. We're in week 12 of NFL football. We are getting into the time of year where you don't know what you're going to get as you head out towards the stadium. I'm talking about the coaches, the players, the fans, everybody, because we got the clashing of the air mass. Now, as we enter into week 12, we're going to be diving into that risk of weather impact, and we actually lucked out. I'm going to tell you, all across the country, we got absolute dynamite weather, great weather. I want to show you the lower 48. This is entering into Sunday. We're going to pack out each different region. We'll get into the nuances. Look at the Pac Northwest, Seattle. If you haven't been with us on the Fox Weather stream, atmospheric river after atmospheric river, historic rain in Southern California. That's been ongoing for days. Notice by the weekend, this event is actually hitting up a little north of there, Oregon, Washington, the interior portion as well. So we can look at what that could unfold. Then, as we head down into the southern plains, you get out towards spots like Texas, out towards Oklahoma and Louisiana. They get repetitive days of severe weather. Now, we do know this, the Texas teams, they got dome stadiums for the most part, right? So they have the shield and protection of all of this. One other active spot is up near the interior northeast. Notice, as of right now, though, this looks like it's going to be impacting upstate New York and mainly off of Lake Ontario and not Lake Erie. So that's important to know because, of course, we got Buffalo, something we'll be watching, Highmark Stadium, in the weeks ahead. So these are the type of spots where you expect them to be active this time of year, and they're actually quiet. And one of those spots, easy to see some activity, is Soldier Field in Chicago. You would anticipate this time of year a low dipping out of Canada, with that a big wind impact, blasting some snow. But is that what we got this week? No. We got something beautiful. We got nice mild temperatures. We got light wind. And we got no rain. Look at that. Double nickels. Mid-50s. This is good. I'm just hoping the football is as good as, the weather. By the way, both of these teams, I think, have to be somewhat of a surprise. I mean, Steelers leading their division right now. And the Bears, I'll be honest with you. I was not a Caleb Williams fan. I thought there was going to be too much noise around all this, and they've just handled business. And so they've actually looked fairly decent this year too. So this looks like it's going to be a very competitive game. Again, when you're looking at the weather impacts from this, mid-50s, that is awesome in Chicago this time of year. Because you could easily have something that was sub-freezing and a whole lot of noise going on. And you have the exact opposite. We do have the wind that'll be relatively light. It's out of the 10 miles per hour sustained. That means you could have gusts 15 or so. Soldier Field is exposed to the elements that time, so that is something that we could be watching. But I don't think this impacts Rodgers, Williams at all. And when you're looking at fantasy, right now, fantasy football, you're in that time of year where you could be getting close to potentially looking at making that playoff run or not. And then you start looking at, hey, wait, what was the penalty again if I come in last place? Like, the concern is real. Well, with this fantasy matchup, you're not looking at weather implications on it, right? So you're not, if you have a kind of a buffer and you're like, all right, I don't know if to start this or that. Like, one of those things was Josh Jacobs, right? He's uncertain right now. And I think if you had a bigger weather impact like rain and snow where you're worried about the conditions, then you maybe lean towards the backup running back, because then you're wondering, okay, I don't think they're going to want to jeopardize Josh Jacobs. They're not going to want to expose him, but he's still, as of right now with this recording, early in the week, Tuesday, uncertain. And I don't think this changes any of that. What it does show you, though, is that Jordan Love, if he doesn't have Josh Jacobs, maybe he's going to be doing a few more checkdowns. Maybe that makes the receivers or tight ends a little more viable. That's the type of stuff that you'll be watching when you have the full playbook at your disposal for weeks now, whether it's with Ian or, of course, if we got the Mustache Marauder. Jared's in here as well. We talk about, hey, if there's weather, how does that change the ultimate game plan of all of this? Does it change which players may actually be impacted? Does it actually favor some of them? And I think with this, of course, no weather impact, that keeps it wide open, makes it a little more difficult for not only the fantasy aspect of things, but even for the betting line, right? You don't think that there's going to be any kind of, true steering direction in all of this where you could say, no, I think they're going to be limited because of said threshold. Everything looks to be on the table with this. Interesting matchup. And it's not just here. I'm taking you to another spot that easily could be completely different this time of year, Lambeau Field. I mean, think about if you're a sports enthusiast, especially if you're a Packers fan, how many times you've entered into late November and you've had the snow games, right? Or just a brutal wind. Well, this is Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m. They're taking on the Vikings, obviously a historic, rivalry. I believe last year the Vikings actually They won both games. By the way, I don't know why I was mentioning. Sorry, I mentioned Josh Jacobs in the last game. I mean Josh Jacobs for this game for the Packers. So that's something that you'll be watching for this coming in with Jordan Love. I got ahead of myself, but with this also look at the wind impact. Relatively light temperatures. They're going to be warm too, slightly cooler than the game right before. They're into the upper 40s, lower 50s. This is another one with the wind relatively light, and it's coming in out of the west. But I don't think that orientation really changes anything with this, right? For Lambeau Field. One thing to know, you have McCarthy. He's going to be back there. With that, not much, I guess, excitement for the scoring abilities of this team. The over and under are relatively low. It depends on which sports book you're in, but the low 40s. So you got to see if you have an appetite for that. Again, it comes back to Josh Jacobs. Are they going to have him for the pack? Are they going to be at full strength? We do know the Packers' defense has been able to get after the quarterback. So J.J. McCarthy has struggled under pressure. Obviously, it's tough to try to get those reps in. And so is that going to be a big factor, right? You're not worried about hey, this is going to be a run game. Like, it's not, if that's what they wanted to and design it, yeah, but it's not going to be weather dependent, right? This is not something that's going to limit, but if they are going to try to open it up, is J.J. McCarthy going to be limited because the fact that if you drop back, you got Michael Parsons breathing down your neck. These are the type of things that we're kind of looking into. Just overall, the structure of this game looks like it favors, I don't know, I feel like Green Bay because you're at home. You're doing well. You're riding on the streak here, and you're not worried about the weather. So this is overall what we're kind of seeing, the big overall kind of take-home point from Week 12 in the NFL, where we've had a lot of weeks where the weather has been a big influence. Not the case for Week 12 early outlook. We do have the Jets taking on the Ravens. This is going to be in Baltimore. That's going to be Sunday afternoon. Double nickels, mid-50s there, so mild conditions. So that makes 3 games across the board. Look how many of these, how much, no matter what region, Great Lakes, Mid-Atlantic. We'll show you some other spots out west with San Francisco. You could be in the Tennessee Valley region. You could be in the Midwest. All of these stabilize into the 50s and 60s. This has got to be the most, calm weather pattern we have seen in weeks, because when you think about early in the season, you don't have much weather, but you do have the temperature impact. This has actually been moderated by everything. Something to know, I know the Jets, I think, deciding to bench Fields potentially for this upsetting game. I don't know. I think the Baltimore Ravens, they're coming on their uptick. They're trying to make back half of the season push after early struggles and Lamar being back out. Then you got the Patriots that have been red hot. I think they're tied with the Broncos, right? With the best, the best
record.
Best record. I was going to say win percentage. Is that not crazy to you, Jerry? Like, when I was thinking coming into this, I'm thinking, okay, Patriots will be middle of the pack. They may be fighting for a playoff spots, and then the Broncos. Bo Nix looked exciting, but at times it was like, is this going to be a flash in the pan? And yeah, both of them are rocking a 9-2 record.
Well, the thing to note with those two, like when the fight for the AFC's 1 seed and home field advantage and who the 2 seed is going to be, those two are both outdoor stadiums. So that's something to keep in mind as you head into January. A lot of teams maybe rooting for the Colts to do a little bit better because the AFC's got, at least out of the power conference, out of the power teams, most of them are outdoor stadiums. It's really the Colts are the only ones that are indoors. Everyone else that is really in contention, you got to deal with the elements.
Such a great point. Yeah, because I'm thinking about the Rams are doing really well. I know that's a different division, but they're in the dome. So you're looking at a lot of that. I forget about that influence at the latter half because, remember, playoff football is in the heart of winter, where this is a vastly different forecast. But to your point, I'm one of those people that's rooting for the Colts to do better starting this week because I am done with – I don't want to see the Chiefs again in the playoffs trying to make a Super Bowl run. And I know they've been like middle of the pack. They're doing bad. A lot of people are saying, hey, you can't afford to lose a game. If you do, you better be only one. I'm hoping Indiana Jones – comes through, and if not, they give it to the MVP, Jonathan Taylor. All right, we got to get the MVP to a running back this year. The dude's been an absolute dog out there for the Colts.
Yeah, I mean, I've got Matthew Stafford right now, 27 touchdowns, 2 picks, like Rams' great overall record. He needs his Hall of Fame push here, but overall, the one thing I do want to say is just with the Packers and Bears games, those are the only ones that have that wind sustained about 10 miles per hour. Mm-hmm. So you do think about the longer kicks a little bit, but it's not enough to go and really change how you approach this from a fantasy or a betting perspective. For a betting perspective, it'd really only be an in-game bet when a team is about to kick like a really long field goal. That's probably the only real edge you could get here. Everything else should be totally fine. Don't feel scared at all this week. And this may be the last week you could say that across the league.
Yeah.
So
and I guess for fantasy-wise, this is where you could look at some of these teams, and if you're fluctuating each week with your defense and kicker, you're not really worried necessarily, but if you have choices, that's something to look at too with what you're talking about, the long field goal. But at least like in recent weeks, you and I have talked about, hey, stay away from these guys, right? Because this is awful. That's not really setting up. You should be able to hold out and wait till that final push towards the weekend if you want to pick up somebody late. But you did mention Green Bay. And I thought this was interesting reading this earlier. McManus has been battling injuries all season, and he hasn't had that conversation with the head coach, right? And so it's been this kind of, something subtlety to talk about where he struggled in long field goals because he's been battling through an injury. And to your point, a 10-mile-per-hour wind, maybe gusting a little bit greater, ultimately shouldn't impact overall. But when you read in depth on these things and you start looking at it's beyond just the wind threshold, but a guy that maybe doesn't believe in his leg or he's battling an injury, that wind does actually play a bigger factor than if you were purely healthy and you were confident. So something to think about as you're diving into this. I think Seattle and Tennessee, we haven't seen this game. Thankfully, this is at Nissan Stadium in Tennessee, because if this was out in Seattle, we'd be doing a much different forecast where they're looking at wet and gloomy conditions, what you expect for the Pac Northwest this time of year.
Yeah, I really don't have much to add from a weather perspective. Both that game and the San Francisco 49ers game are both going to be looking very, very solid for football. Especially, really, that Tennessee game is actually about as perfect as you can get for an outdoor game. I guess ever so slight nudge of wind, but nothing to be concerned about fantasy-wise or betting-wise. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah, I mean, if you weren't going to watch Tennessee because they're that awful, maybe just go to the stadium just to have a fun day in the sun and enjoy the temperatures out there, because Tennessee is maybe the worst thing I've seen hit the football field in a long time this year. That's saying a lot being a Dolphins fan. So it has been rough watching for some fan bases, and I say that acknowledging mine has been a struggle. We have won a few games here recently, but I'll tell you what, the weather has been absolute dynamite. Now, this was for Week 12 of NFL football. Tuesday recording, tomorrow, we're going to be locking in on Week 13 of college football. Will all the games be stabilized or not? I don't know. I think there's a little more active weather for college football. Then later in the week here on the Fox Weather stream, we're going to have the Fox Weather tailgate. So maybe you're seeing these forecasts and you're saying, man, this is great weather. I'm just going to go out so I can have some fun and catch up with my friends. I'm going to eat some good stuff. I want to play some games. Well, that's what we do out on Fox Plaza every Thursday. So come check it out. We'll have fun there. And then Friday, we will likely have a bonus episode for you as well. So thank you for hanging out with us on another ROWI Report. Have fun, be safe, be weather smart, and we'll see you on the next pod. Hot one, hot two. Red. Check down, say hut. Yeah. I don't think I like that. Oh, gosh.